Here's the record button. Okay, so I'm going to start. How many of you have attended other performance sessions? Okay, you've all attended performance sessions. Okay, so don't worry, Jane, it's not a problem. And I guess I tend to, in many ways, approach it from a different angle to other people. Sandra, you were in my group earlier, and I think, Rachel, did you come to one of my performance sessions earlier as well, where I had the words and stuff up there and people were looking at the words? And that's what I want to do now, is to develop that, having understood the words and the levels. I'm going to bring them up here so you can quickly see them so that you understand what I'm saying. I know that Sandra and Rachel will, but are the rest of you? Wait a minute. Here we go. So can you all see those words? Okay, we're looking for, I don't mind if you have yourselves unmuted here, because I quite like a bit of a discussion going on. And I think we're all aware of Zoom etiquette. I think we've been doing it long enough to know.
Rhiannon, I'm going to leave my mute on because I've got a washing machine making a lot of noise. So.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I think you've been very
right,
good.
mute.
That's fine. Okay. And I'm happy with Rachel. If you're going to have piano lessons as well, Rachel, that's fine too. Okay, so just to sort of share with you this approach, and I'm sure some of you have probably experienced this if you've ever had any coaching from people like Doug Harrington or Sally McLean or David McEachran from Toronto Northern Lights, any of those people. David talks in levels. Level 1 is very much to yourself, a reflection on what's going on. Level 2 is to directly at a person, and level 3 is to a wider community, to the world, or whatever it's going to be. So I've talked through the song very quickly, and even though we're not singing in the first section of the song, it kind of sets the mood. And for me, it's probably, I find it very powerful if I change the you to I. Have I ever felt like nobody was there? Have I ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have I ever felt that I could disappear, like I could fall and no one would hear? If I can get that into me from the beginning and stand on that cliff edge, which is what Simon was talking about in his sessions, and Debbie and Donna, then that establishes where the framework in which I'm taking it. It could be me talking to myself, or it could be another person talking to me. So it's a 1/2 level, depending on where you are. Oh, here we go. This is the lady I was telling you about. Well, it should be there in a minute. Morning, Coral. How are you? Hello. Morning, Coral. I'm going to carry on anyway. Okay. But in this particular song, there are loads of musical demands, okay? There's, number 1, repeated words and phrases, and we're looking for contrasts and dynamic variations. So part 1 for me is either level 1 or level 2, but we have to be involved in it. If you were to put a dynamic marking, you know, how loud or quiet, as you would feel yourself, what dynamic marking would you be if you were in, if we could actually get it physically involved in this song as a group of people singing it side by side? What dynamic level do you feel, even though another part might be singing it, what dynamic level do you feel that those people would be singing at? Would it be very quiet? Would it be slightly a little bit louder than very quiet, so just quiet, or mid-volume, or getting stronger and getting stronger and stronger? Which level would you put that into?
I think it'd be a lower level to start with.
Yeah. What about the tone that you would use, or they would use? What kind of tone would they use? Do you understand what I mean when I say tone, but the vocal quality? Would it have an edge to it, or would it have a softness to it, or would it have a sob or a sad quality? Is it a sad quality? Is it sad from the outset? Here's a question.
No, I think it'd be quite hushed and quite sort of almost insistent, but in a hushed way. So have you ever felt like this?
Yeah.
It's more of an introspection, isn't it? So you're more introspective, or I am at that point. I've decided that's my introspective start.
Yeah. It's you're sort of saying, have I ever felt this, or have you ever felt this? It could be one of those others, and whichever one you choose is entirely up to you. But that would actually set the emotional feeling that you have, even though you are not singing, because you reflect that visually in the way that you would present yourselves. And then the next verse is a little bit more hopeful, I think. Well, then let that lonely feeling wash away. Is there a dynamic change? Can you hear a dynamic change in the way they sing that? Yes, you're saying yes, Jane. You can hear the music getting slightly louder. Okay.
I think slightly louder and sort of hopeful, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's becoming.
You're going to be okay.
Yeah, you're going to be okay. What about you, Jen? What were you going to say?
I was just thinking that it gets to a stage there where it's more. What's the word? I don't know how to word it, but it's almost like including other people and saying that we all share the same feelings sometimes, so it's okay that you feel that way. But
right. That's right. It's like saying you're feeling that, I felt that, and other people feel it as well. So it's okay to do that. Okay. And then we come in with this bit, which to me is and oh, someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Dynamic change there's bound to be a dynamic change, because we've only had the lower voices singing in the first 22 bars or whatever. Well, not singing that length of time because we've got the accompaniment, but then the voices come in. So we come in on bar 23. So what kind of a volume level? And I don't want to put numbers because I don't work with numbers, okay? But if you work with numbers, you can decide whether you're working on a scale of 1 to 10 or a 1 to 5. It's entirely up to you. I really don't mind it has to be something that you feel is important. Let me give you a clue why I'm suggesting this. When we get the tapes, when we get the recordings back, that's my washing machine bleeping in the background. When we get the recordings back, one of the things I usually put down in feedback is, and I do understand it because we're at the first stage of doing the recordings, and then you're going to do it again. But people are just sort of saying, right, I've got to get the notes and the words in the right order. Some people will say, well, actually, I think there's a musical shape here. And I'm suggesting and encouraging you to think that there's a dynamic shape to this as well. There's a musical shape and there's a dynamic level that you can put in very early on, because it helps you produce the sound that you make in a better way. So, and oh, what about that note? And I've actually put that down as a bold, because I think that's quite an important, it's the first, well, you could say and is a proper word, but and is on the least important beat of the bar. It's on the very, very last one, and O is on the strong beat of the bar. And I think there's the word strong indicates, and also the fact that I put it in bold, because Simon, when he identified, he said, that's the word. It's like opening a window, not immediately, but it's like, and oh, and you open the window ever so slightly and the sound comes out and you say to them, someone will come running, okay? And I know they'll take you home. So give me a dynamic level for that, approximately. Give me what it feels like to you.
I just think the word oh is just hopeful and positive, and it should be lifting somebody up, really. So I would think that the volume goes slightly with it. Okay. The dynamics would go slightly with it.
Go slightly with it.
Yeah. Bit of a crescendo on O.
A bit, sort of a little blush, a little blossom, a little grow on the word O. Excellent, good, well done. Anybody else got anything else to say? Or are you all in agreement? Kind of, yeah. Thumbs up, okay. And then
can I say, Rhiannon? One of the failings I had on some of the earlier recordings is that I went for this is my first note. I better let them know I'm here. But this one, I'm really determined for myself that it's really tempting to go and oh, when really that's the last thing you want to do.
Absolutely. And actually, if I were to look at it from a musical point of view, the word "and" is a springboard into the O. And O, so you bounce, you go into it and then blossom and grow on that O. As you say, the slight crescendo, not too much, because if you give too much in the beginning, you've got very little to come back and then carry on doing. So we've got to hold out, and we all know where the crescendo is, really. It's in the back page. That's where we are, and we're all in the highest range that we can be in this particular song. So we have to make sure that vocally we hold back there, and everything is aiming towards there. So, which is it from the musical point of view now, from the linguistic point of view? Someone will come running. Which one is the most important word?
Someone.
Someone will come running. Someone will come running. And I would suggest that you actually say these words in the rhythm of the song and try and put those growing dynamics on the words before you actually put the notes in. And oh, someone will come running, and here we go again, and I know there's another crescendo, they'll take you home. All right, and that's the first time they've said anything quite as hopeful of that. So that is definitely a level 2. So we need to make sure that there's good vocal closure there, that it's a good sound, that it's not breathy, that there's no stress. It's not too loud. Don't ever go for it too loud. And then even when the dark comes crashing through, is that at the same volume as you've just done, bars 20 and O up to they'll take you home? Is that the same volume or not? No, exactly. It goes backwards a little bit. So you need to show those dynamic variations, okay, so that there's an ebb and a flow to the music that you're doing. You need to just put those indicators on your music and make sure that you've got all of those visual reminders. When I was playing the cello and I wanted to remind myself, I always used to draw a pair of glasses on the section I was coming to, and when I saw the glasses, I knew I had to concentrate a little bit harder. Yes, Rita?
Just going back to that first bit, you do the blossom, as you say, on and O.
Yes.
Would you come down a bit for the someone?
I would.
It gives that ebb and flow.
Yes. Now let me just check in the music. Yes, I am right. In fact, there's a full crotchet rest there. Now I'm not one for rests. I do it. Sort of, you breathe at the beginning and you breathe at the end, as far as I'm concerned, and the rest is entirely up to you. But there is a musical indication that it's and oh. Back a little bit in that break, not too much, because otherwise it'll be a step down, it'll be a gear down dynamically. You have to keep it a little bit quiet and to allow you to go, someone will come running, with the emphasis on someone will come running, and then back a tiny little bit again, because you got another one on the O, and I know they'll take you home. And I know that there's a rest there, and we've probably got a breath, I would think. Yeah, we have. And I know, breath, they'll take you home. So the music is in a state of becoming, the point of arrival is the word home. So that's kind of a mini getting louder from the beginning, coming back a bit, getting louder again, coming back a bit. And they'll take you home. That's the point of arrival. And then we go reflectively on even when the dark comes crashing through. And of course, because we're all singing this at the same volume level, it will be quite loud. So we need to be very, very careful. Not only do we over-sing in this, that we have the right vocal tonal quality. So would you have, what kind of even when the dark comes crashing through, a gentle tone? Or even when the dark comes crashing through? I think if I put an edge to my voice, I find that hard. Lower down, right, a choral. That's exactly, I would agree with you, yeah. And it's quite conversation. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, and when you're broken. That's a really important word on the word broken.
There's got to be some sincerity in that statement there in the passage there, and assurance.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things to consider, we as have to be careful here, but my opinion, for what it's worth, take it or leave it, is that actually we've downplayed the use and the relevance of consonants when we sing in barbershop, because the word broken is made to be broken by the two consonants that start the sound, broken. And when you're broken on the ground, doesn't mean, if you use those two consonants to just emphasize the word, because it's really important. And when you're broken on the ground, you will be found, okay? And then the next bit is more hopeful again. So the whole of this section is kind of gradually getting more and more hopeful. And then there's a brightness, a lightness, and, you know, lift your head and look around. Again, the use of consonants, whether they're consonants that you make a good sound with, like a l, lift your head and look around. I mean, when you say it in a poetic way, there are beautiful sounds within the words that we can actually do more with, you know? And then we go right the way down in the next section, and it tells you, Simon has made that very clear, because he says, quiet, okay? And then get gradually growing and proud, and then loud but light. Now, and then the last one is said by the lower voices. And forgive me that I'm repeating this to you, Sandra, but I think it's really important to understand that musically, when you have something like this, you never sing it the same way, okay? And we've got 4 repeats of the same thing here. Now, luckily, there are 4 words. So it could be, you will be found, or you will be found, or you will be found, or you will be found. So whichever one of those is the most emphatic, is it the last one or the second to last, whichever one, that should be the one that is emphasized. Is it you will be found, or you will be found, or would you do you will be found to start off? Which is the one that gets you louder, allows you to become louder? Is it with the emphasis on the you, or the emphasis on the will, or the be, or the found?
I think found.
That's the loudest, is it?
Well, that's where you're growing.
Okay.
That's when you're transitioning from one to the next.
Okay.
I think possibly the most important word in that phrase is will.
Okay. And that's fine. So you decide which one you think it is, okay? And make sure that whichever emphasis, if you're going to do a different emphasis on each one of those, and musically that would be a good choice, make sure that the one that you feel is the most important is the last one. So that the music, again, is still in the state of becoming, and it's arriving at where you want it to be. Okay? So I'm going to play the wide track from the beginning the first time, and I'm going to stop on that you will be found section. And I want you to just try and, you can sing it quietly if you want, or you can bubble it, or you can blow through straw. But I want you to think about the dynamics when you're doing this, okay? I'm going to ask you all to mute yourselves, and we're going to get to there. And then I want you to reflect and think, did I do that correctly? Did that feel right? Do I need to have the words up here, or may I just have the soundtrack? Is that okay? Can I just switch these words off now? Is that all right? Everybody okay with that? Good, okay, so I'm going to close this. And screenshot it, shared. Okay, right, and I'm going to go to the audio track. Right, and I am going to go from the beginning first of all. I won't be doing it in the other times I do this, but right now I'm going from the beginning, okay? Everybody okay? Just give me a thumbs up that you can hear the music. Everybody on mute, please.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear? Well, let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand. And oh, someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, and when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found.
Okay. Just remind you all that if I run out of time, which is highly likely because I've been running out of time every time, to come back in here again on this. Right. So how successful were those dynamics that you felt? Is there something that you missed or that you can do more?
I didn't apply all those dynamics. I was trying to feel it, but it was more so than previously. So it's a case of repetition for me.
Okay. What about you, Jen?
Yeah, I think I was thinking. I was in my head a little bit thinking of everything, and I need to move to next level.
Right, right, okay. I mean, and that's the thing, isn't it? Where you sort of, I'm not saying what's right or what's wrong. You have to find a plan that suits you. But if we're engaging with the music and thinking about what's actually happening and where we are and where it's got to go to, not just in this phrase, but the ultimate at the end, then we need to piece the whole thing together. And dissect it musically in many ways, which is what I'm doing now. Sandra, what about you? I could see that you were really emotional with what you were singing.
Yeah, I'm getting more emotional the more times I sing it, which is a bit worrying. but yes, I mean, I've been to a couple of your sessions now, and I also did one with Claire, and I'm finding that the more I work with it, the more I'm starting to feel those dynamics without having to sort of overthink them, which is good. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Coral? How do you feel? Hang on, you need to unmute yourself, Coral.
I've got there. Yeah. Yes, your description as well has helped me, definitely. And yes, I feel it now, and I'll work with it. And I think it's coming, the words are coming easier now as well when I put a bit more feeling into it.
Yes, yeah, good, well done. Okay, what about you, Jane? You're on mute.
Yeah, it's just because the washer's just started rattling. It's a very old one and the bearings have gone. I think it was a bit like Rita and Jen. I was sort of thinking a bit too much, but not massively. And I remembered some of the words to emphasise and grow, but not all of them. But I do think identifying keywords that you're going to emphasise and grow and then come back again is really, really helpful.
Right, good. Okay, so I'm
going
to
practice, do really. Just
practice. Okay, what about you, Rachel? How did that do for you? Did you manage to do it? Rachel?
I think Rachel's frozen.
It's frozen.
There must be too much Zoom going on in that house at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Right.
No, I'm not frozen. I'm reading emails.
Right.
Sorry, I was aware that you guys were doing that, but I was supervising the reluctant piano lesson, I'm afraid.
Oh, right. Okay. You've got one ear one way and one ear in another place, Rachel. Well done. Talk about multi-purpose doing things all at the same time. What we're supposed to do? Tasking. Oh, straight. I can't even remember them now. Good. Well done. I'd like to do that once again.
He really hates his piano lesson, but I told him he's not allowed to give up, so.
Okay, we're going to do that once again. I won't go from the beginning. I will go, hopefully, if she can pick it up, from the section that says, well, let that feeling wash away, because that's where it becomes a bit hopeful. And I need to be able to see the volume change in your bodies as well, because there needs to be a little bit of, even though we're engaged, there needs to be it's like lifting a bit of a weight off your shoulders so that there's a little bit of growth. If you don't reinforce things, not only in your head but with your body, it won't get to the voice. It might be up here, but it's not getting here. Rita.
So can I suggest something I've been thinking about myself with this in terms of performance on Zoom? If people are conscious of where their camera is, because there are parts of this where you would naturally be looking into people's eyes, particularly at that last "you will be found," just to emphasize the point. So if you're, instead of looking at yourself, which I'm doing at the moment, if you looked at where the camera is, if everybody's doing that, it would be one move that would make a big impact on the performance, I think. So I'm going to try and get into the habit of doing that.
Okay, that's a really good suggestion. So if whichever one of the words that you've decided for, and the fourth of those "you will be found" is by far the most important of those phrases, whichever one word you're actually emphasizing, make sure that you do look into the camera as opposed to looking as I am. I totally agree. I'm talking to me at the moment on the thing. I'll tell you who's particularly good at doing this, and that's Coral. She nailed me yesterday, absolutely nailed me. I almost lost it. She really hit me with the emphasis on the "you will be fine." I couldn't believe it came straight through at me, and I went, "Whoa, that was really powerful." It was amazing.
We'll all be watching Coral now.
Rihanna.
Hello.
Rihanna, can I say something?
Yes, please do.
My little chorus that I sing with, you came and tutored us years ago, Wessex Harmony, and I remember you from then, and you always gave so much. It was wonderful, and it stayed with me.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you for your praise. I'm sure I wasn't as good when I first saw you.
Oh, well, I don't remember, but that's not an issue, is it? So, I mean, I don't remember very many things these days, unfortunately. It's one of these, am I going up or going down days sometime? Anyway, there we go. So I'm going to go back to that section, and I'd like you to, this time, I'd like you to do one of the things that I've tried to do before, which is to stand up when you're doing the delivery. Okay, stand up. And sing it or whatever you want to do, just hold it back, but try and show the dynamic level on your, so tell me something, I'm looking at me, right? So when I look at the camera, how different does that look? I'm looking at the camera now. There's me, there's.
It's difficult with you because the screen's reflecting off your glasses.
Yeah. The trouble is I can't see a damn thing. My eyes have gone so bad using Zoom every day. I can't see a damn thing. And I need them to read the words. Even though I know the words, I still need that crutch there, unfortunately, at the moment. And that shows you I'm not getting to the unconscious level, which I should be at.
I have it above my camera so that if I'm glancing up, I'm actually glancing near the camera. The other thing I'm getting a lot of is is nostril shots.
Oh, yes.
Because I'm going like this, so you
know. Okay, right. So I'm going to find it now. Oh, in fact, I'm going to come out of this. We've got less than a minute to go. So I'll come back out and you come back in. Okay, that'd be great.